Where else? It's steam outside. Oh, yeah. How's it? Brutal?
Regular one too?
Yeah, just with the updates. I don't remember.
I gave you. If not, you need a regular one too?
Yeah.
We'll make
That's
sure.
great.
Yeah, I got.
You want the regular one?
No, this is fine.
Everything okay now? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're playing usually at Apple Green. The greens are tough there though, especially on the east side. They're just sloped all over the place, they're fast.
Yeah.
It's like you hit it, a 60-degree, gets backspin on the ball and lands, and you don't know where it's going. It's impossible.
Okay, everybody, if you can rise, start the meeting. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Well, now that turning out is not day. Okay, let's start with roll call. Trustee Briggs, Trustee Nivey, Trustee Ellis,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Younger is absent with notice. Can you just put those on for me?
Yeah, they're on. They're on. Okay.
Okay, so tonight at 6:15, we have the public hearing on local law number 3 of 2025, which is the adoption of the park ordinance, where we're going to incorporate chapter 83 from the town of Warsing's parks law, specifically as it relates to the rail trail. We have a couple of modifications that we had made to it, particularly the fees. We increased them by double, $50 to $100, $100 to $200 for the two offenses, just so that there might be a little more of a hammer, so that if you ride an ATV on the rail trail, it might actually stop you instead of it just being a fee.
Discouraged.
Yeah, yeah. So anyways, so we'll start that at 6:15. In the meantime, we'll start with the approval of minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Open for discussion, anyone? All in favor? We'll have a couple of petitioners come up, John Gola and Poppy Cannon for the Repair Cafe. If you want to come up and right there. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Hey everybody,
Hi, how are you?
good. I have a little bit of a thing I've written to read to you guys.
Sure.
Hi, my name is John Glagola. I'm starting a repair cafe here in Ellenville along with Poppy Cannon Reese. Repair Cafe asked the question, what do you do with a broken toaster or a bike when the wheel runs out of screw, or with a sweater when it has a missing button or a hole? Toss it away? No way. We organized the first Repair Cafe here in Ellenville to start on Saturday, August 16th. The Repair Cafe will be held in the Norbury Building, 73 Center Street, from noon until 4. Skill repair coaches will be available to help make all possible repairs free of charge. We are accepting voluntary donations. Tools and materials will also be on hand. People visiting the Repair Cafe will bring their broken items from home: toasters, lamps, hair dryers, clothes, bikes, toys, crockery, anything that's broken is welcome. If you can carry it into the cafe, we will try to fix it. The Repair Cafe coaches almost always have the know-how. By promoting repairs, we want to help reduce mountains of waste. According to the UCRRA, this is absolutely necessary to reduce the waste we send to landfills. We throw away piles of stuff in Ulster County, even things which practically have nothing wrong with them, and which could easily be fixed and used again after a simple repair. Unfortunately, many people have forgotten that they can have these things repaired. Repair Cafe wants to change that mindset. Repair Cafe is also meant to put neighbors in touch with each other in a new way and discover that a lot of know-how and practical skills can be found close to home. If you repair a bike, a CD player, or a pair of trousers together with a previously unfamiliar neighbor, you view that neighbor in a new light, growing a deeper connection to your community. Making repairs can lead to pleasant contacts in the neighborhood. Repairs can save money and resources and can help minimize CO2 emissions. But above all, Repair Cafe wants to show how much fun repairing things can be and how easy it is as well. What is Repair Cafe? Repair Cafe is an international foundation that was started in Amsterdam, Netherlands in 2009. It was formulated by Martijn Postma, at the time a publicist and journalist. In 2010, she started Repair Cafe International Foundation. This foundation provides professional support to local groups around the world wishing to start their own repair cafes. The foundation also supports the Repair Cafe in Ellenville. While we have secured a grant from the foundation to get started, we humbly ask for your future financial support in supporting the cafes. We wish to begin organizing on August 16th with the first Repair Cafe, and then again every other month on the third Saturday of the month. Our second cafe will be held on October 18th. You guys have any questions?
I'm just really excited because I know that it's very popular in the Hudson Valley. Like the Borough Library does it. They do it in a variety of places, and here I'm on radio all the time, and it's all interesting, and it sounds really exciting. And I think, and you said for donation, can you talk a bit about, John, about monetary donation? Or?
Yeah, so the whole thing about Repair Cafe is that it's free. So you can come and you can come and get your stuff fixed, but if you would like to support future cafes in helping us attain parts that we would need to make future repairs, we are accepting donations.
Now it's 12 to 4 every third Saturday of the month.
Yes, ma'am.
And so this is modeled after, like, I wish has one, something similar.
Like
very
an
similar to that.
international.
Exactly, cool. The Repair Cafe International Corporation, not corporation. Repair Cafe International has very strict guidelines that we are supposed to follow as a smaller repair cafe. So they've sent me a list and documents over of like 50 pages about how to apply their standards to Ellenville.
Would you like to state where it's going to be located, just for the public record?
Yeah, the Repair Cafe will be held at 73 Center Street, which is the old Norbury building, on August 16th from noon to 4.
I think that's great.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, we're gonna fix them.
Yeah, that's good.
Have you gotten a different mix of trade people who have committed to helping out with this?
I have 12 volunteers for this.
wow, great.
Repair Cafe, which is incredible. The support that exists in the Repair Cafe community is just overwhelming.
And there's probably some that rotate places. They got that, you're right, like if you trade this would be here and it would be by bush or whatever.
Yeah, there's a couple nomads.
Great.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Thank
John.
you.
Appreciate the update.
See you guys.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Some minutes, would you like to come and speak to the board? Yeah.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I just had,
Can you just state your name?
oh, sure,
Yeah.
Jeanette Morse, M-O-R-S-E. I live in 41 Highland Terrace. I received a bill for a lawn violation, and I guess I want either to rescind it or some clarification from the picture they took. Because I did mow my lawn on the 20th and the 25th of May. After I received a letter saying it had to be done by the 22nd. And then they came on June 2nd and mowed my lawn and then sent me a bill. And so I just want to know what I did wrong because I did mow it. They sent me a picture of what they did. So I guess I just need clarification on why I'm being.
Can you show us the photo?
Sure.
Thanks. So this is a photo that
That they took.
Okay,
Yes. And I'm not sure, except for maybe the things right from the fence. I mean, I have a text message to my neighbor, because I borrowed her lawnmower, that was on the 20th.
Yeah.
I have a picture of me mowing the lawn in the backyard on the 25th from my camera. I just,
could you send that over to us?
Yeah.
If you have copies that we could just.
I can go get a copy, sure.
What to do?
Okay, so what we'll do, yeah, if you can send those pieces of information over and then we'll assess it and then go from there, if that's okay.
Okay,
Okay?
Perfect.
thank you so
Okay,
much.
appreciate it, thank you. We have a few minutes, Zach and Letitia, do you want to come up and speak on behalf of the youth? Sure.
So we're representing the Coffee Youth Steering Committee, and we wanted to talk about a grant we're gonna apply for a youth center coming up. And we are looking for, pretty simple, just tell you a little about the grant and hopefully get a letter of support from the village. Not a lot of details yet, we're still working on it, but just sort of an in principle letter of support broadly from the village on the concept. So it was made you were made aware of a grant opportunity that's coming up the application period is July 14th to August 15th for something called the New York Bricks Grant, which is a $100 million fund that the governor has set aside for youth and community centers specifically, only for youth and community centers. 50% of that money, at least 50% of that money has to go towards what they're calling underserved communities, of which this community is applicable for. So that's good news. The awarding amounts will be anywhere between $250,000 per site and $15 million per site. So fairly substantial potential grant awardings. We are working on the Kimball Hose company site as the site for this. We are in talks with the Kimball Hose folks to get site control, which needs to be shown for the grant. And
so part of this grant packaging includes these letters of support from all of the sort of vested partners, right? So you are our first stop in a campaign that will also reach out to Time Divorcing and then other vested partners. So this, we feel, is a way for the village to invest in this process and really take advantage of making an investment that doesn't ask for financial support. Right, so this is on behalf of the Village of Allenville. We support moving forward with this location for this intended purpose.
Now, Zach, as far as other, giving the information, because I think one is to talk about it, because we've been working on it for years. And I don't know if that helps, but there's also, just we started a coalition. So whatever we can do and go.
100% you should, we would.
Yeah.
Another letter.
100%.
So yeah, that's the lightest
because
touch.
we had
but the most
initially the
impactful.
Joe Becker Memorial,
Yeah, yeah.
and you did the walk.
Yeah, of course.
How many years ago?
That was like that was over 3 years.
More than that, I think it was,
Yeah.
because we were there with the Boys and Girls Club,
Yeah.
remember that, so yeah, so just tell me what you want us to write, put it on letterhead, I can obviously maybe get support from the mayor if you want it. access of the other clubs that are in the area because they both
Great.
support everybody.
Yeah, especially because I think that this is gonna be, I think we'll send out potentially a template of what we
Okay.
want a letter to say, and then
Yeah.
people can, entities like the
Perfect.
village and town can kind of like amend things and make things more specific as they want.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's preliminary, but the grant is due by August 15th, so we kind of have to.
And if you need any help on, please let me know, because, you know, we can do it. And obviously, that really got started with playground, we've gone through that whole thing with 15-20 years ago, but. Yeah,
Zach and
absolutely.
Letitia, I think this is great. I spoke to Zach before and I can't speak for everybody, but I hope everybody's on board, whatever you need for me, to help you support, and we get other people on board, for it, and I think this is great, perfect.
Thanks.
So thank you.
Good.
So with that, I mean, can we just pass a
I'll
motion,
make
just a letter of support?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do a letter of support from the village of Allenville for the grant opportunity for the grant to build the youth center for the 10th side. We're not, but just a letter of intent and support.
It's support, yep, okay, all in can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thanks
Very
guys.
grateful.
Thank
Thank you very much, thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Okay, so with that, we have to jump right into the public hearing, so with that, we have a motion to open the,
Please go to the public hearing
I'll
for
second.
local law number 3.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
So as we said in the beginning, this is to adopt new park ordinance and incorporate functionally most of chapter 83 from the town of Warsing's parks ordinance. There are some changes, specifically the fees. If anyone would like to be heard from the public, I encourage you to come up now and speak to it. Anybody? Okay.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Did you want to go over what we changed or you know? Okay. Okay, all right.
Is there a resolution to adopt the local law? See, okay.
Ian, is there any time frame after closing the public hearing that you have to wait or?
60 days.
Within 60 days to do it, can we do it tonight though?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, so I'll move to adopt local law number 3 of 2025.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we'll jump into a couple of discussion items. So tax exempt properties update. We reached out to the town of Warsing Assessor's Office to just get some clarity on certain properties that were listed.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I
Sure.
apologize. I just need you to, in regards to the public hearing, I just need you to sign this.
Okay.
This is just the environmental assessment form that it doesn't have any impact on the environment. Because it deals with the rail trail, but it's just an ordinance, so we didn't do it.
All right, I know Mr. Tenenbaum originally gave us this information. Did we give him the information that Renee gave us back?
We may not have,
With your permission, I gave mine.
absolutely. Thanks, TJ. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Okay. So she provided some clarity on a number of the properties that were listed, some that potentially are listed as separate properties, but may actually be, despite a separation of a village street, be considered a single property. You need a little more clarification on that. She clarified some of the mechanisms that can be used to attain an exemption, particularly as it should be of no surprise, a religious exemption is very tricky simply because a single day of use could qualify a property for a religious use as an exempt property. We did bring to light a couple of the other properties that she was a little surprised to see, that either they were no longer in being used for their exempt status, and she asked for a little more clarity on it. There's more to dig into this. She's going to give us a little more feedback when we go through this. I think there's still some question about what's the burden of proof for some of these exemptions? Is it basically they just fill out a form and everybody assumes that's exactly how it's working? Or is there some other criteria that they have to present and prove? Again, some of these properties that seem to be single, but when viewed on a tax map are individual properties, and we can get a little more clarity they actually are one or the other, because that would change the nature of the exemption. And then, you know, as Trustee Ellis brought up too, were exemptions filed, or I apologize, were exemption requests made this individual year? Are they required to for certain types of exemptions? And then if we can receive copies of those so we can verify it. So this is an update. We'll hopefully have more for the next meeting. We'll go from there. The other item for discussion is something kind of last minute I threw on, but you know, I was kind of thinking about this. It's come up probably for the last number of years, but you know, especially as we were moving through budget season, is that you know the golf course. I think there's this. You know, maybe uneasiness about what to be done with it, but I think we all agree that it should be protected for the long term, that the property is an incredible piece of land, and that, you know, it doesn't matter what it's ultimately used for. Right now, it's used as a golf course, and I think that's an effective use. But that we need to protect it. You know, that ultimately, I think, is why that referendum passed so strongly, was that people saw that property, people saw a potential other use case for it, and they said, we don't want that to be. And how do we honor that in the long term so that it survives, potentially, you know, beyond all of us, and that it's, you know, we can continue to use it for recreation and its current use, but also prevent it that, you know, in some unimaginable, some unimaginable change of scenarios, that desperation or something else causes a different consideration and sell it off, and it, you know, that original intent isn't honored again. So with that, I wanted to just bring to your attention the idea of potentially having conservation easement put on the property through an outside organization that deals with land conservation. Rondout Esopus Land Conservatory, Open Space Institute, and Scenic Hudson are examples of different organizations that do this kind of work. Other golf courses are covered under Open Space, actually, as they've relayed to us, own a few golf courses effectively to preserve an easement on it. I don't think they would be interested in doing that with this property, but I think they would be interested in just seeing that gorgeous piece of property that the public can experience is preserved, you know, I would hope forever in a sense. So if there's no objections to it, I'll, you know, reach out just to gather some preliminary information and report back to you guys, see what that looks like. Okay. So with that, actually, you know, and just because I didn't ask, we jumped right to the public hearing. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak to the board for any other matters that weren't on the agenda? No? Okay. So with that, we'll jump to resolutions. You have quite a few of them. A motion authorizing payment to Freer Abstract in the amount of $1,700 for 17 tax searches.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion authorizing Treasurer Hovis and Deputy Clerk 2 Susan Collier to take an on-demand single audit class online offered by the GOFA in the amount of $50. Sorry, all in favor? Motion authorizing payment in the amount of $6,856.25 to Brisbane Consulting for the AccuFund utility billing and pay portal modules.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
So this is actually a part of the water and sewer build out. Can I have a second?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion authorizing payment to Grant Telecommunications in the amount of $3,092.10. Specifically, it says telephone services, but it's telephone services and security monitoring at the Hunt Building Emergency Shelter. This kind of clears up that whole
That whole
conundrum.
issue.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
held off
okay.
payment for about 2 years because.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. Motion authorizing treasurer to close the general fund account with Webster Bank and establish a new general fund account with Bank of Greene County.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve purchase of a butterfly valve for the SVR blower from Foster in the amount of $8,300.14 upon the recommendation of the sewer department foreman. Sure.
I'll second for discussion.
I just have a question. The, this valve for the blower is broken, so we need this valve to make it work, is that why we're?
I'm sorry, you were saying.
It says $8,314 for the butterfly valve. Is that what's missing on the blower, or is this an extra piece?
No, this is what happens, the blowers switch automatically. So when one blower runs into another tank, it opens up and closes it,
Yes,
so it doesn't seal.
yes, I understand that, but it's broken? Or-
Yeah, it's.
Oh, it's broken, that's what I wanted to know, or if it's doing as backup.
Mike, are they having to modify this? I saw there was an adapter on it. Or is this the same adapter that just replacing the adapter?
It's the same thing,
Okay.
it's, it's gonna cost more money to try to adapt for a different valve.
So it's just me ready to say something.
Yeah,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion authorizing payment to Duchess Overhead Doors in the amount of $1,725.25. This was for the door.
it's all the doors,
Right.
not the door that's, we asked for repair, that's for.
That's a separate, okay, yeah,
Separate one.
okay, good.
These are the cables, the controllers were bad, they were going, the
Yeah.
doors coming down. I was touching them.
I'll move it.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Long here, you want to get 12-13.
Say that again?
You want to get 12-13 long here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Motion authorizing purchase of the laboratory spectrophotometer RFID technology from HAC. In the amount of $8,147 on the recommendation of sewer department foreman. This is the lab equipment that failed.
Yes, it is.
And this is what we historically use. I know.
Yeah.
We use, yeah,
The gold
we do use,
standard.
yeah, we use, put a test tubes, to put it there, so we can read it, so we have to samples. Yeah, we use some.
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then Mike, it was, okay, motion authorizing payment to NSI in the amount of $1,632 for calibration of the flow meter upon the recommendation of the sewer department foreman.
Mandatory by TPC.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions?
Thanks,
No.
thanks, Mike, appreciate it. Yeah, okay, so jumping back up, can I have a motion authorizing, payment for JH Consulting Group in the amount of $3,256 for the water samples upon the recommendation of the water department foreman?
Make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve, purchase of, the, digital, Picton digital pump from NCS Environmental in the amount of $2,110.90 on the recommendation of the water department foreman.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion authorizing payment to Schmidt's Wholesale for the purchase of the Mueller fire hydrant in the amount of $4,419.42.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion authorizing the mayor and village treasurer to sign the master control agreement for a new general fund account for the Bank of Greene County. This relates to the other,
I'll make the motion.
is that a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Yep, motion to authorize, technically it should be the deputy clerk to advertise for the village manager's position.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Motion authorizing the purchase of a 2003 Toro Greenmaster 3150 model from Real Sharp in the amount of $6,000 for Stephen Memorial Park and Golf Course. All in favor? A motion authorizing the village treasurer to sign a non-callable TAN renewal in the amount of $272,000, $272,000 and 872.
Number 16, I'll move it.
Thank you.
Second.
It's at a rate of 4.10%.
The reason we did go with vacant this time is because it was.
Yes, correct. Yep, there were 3 bids and then no's. All in favor? Motion authorizing payment to Dan Poland in the amount of $128.80 for mileage from May 29th to June 23rd.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Yes. So we were informed and we did not know, and Michelle, I didn't realize it had already, I thought we were going on year 19 and I was wrong. So Michelle has officially been with the village for 20 years now. She was born and raised in Ellenville on Warren Street. And so she's been with Ellenville, so you could say it's been a lot longer of an anniversary. So congratulations, thank you for all your service to the community.
Look for many more. Got 2 more.
Okay, with that board report, EJ? Yep, oh,
Okay.
You know, we were trying to keep the meeting short. Sorry, Phil.
Unfortunately, the 2 candidates that I have, for part-time that TJ, had interviewed, they have a final exam tonight. I was bringing them here, so I was just going to ask the board to appoint them. The academy director asked, by all means, if you could appoint them, but you can not release them for the final exam, for the academy. That's Onyx Clark and Bronson Hoopen.
I'll move, I did interview both candidates.
I'll second.
What you think of TJ? Want to tell them?
You know, they're real, you know, they're young, you know, I advise them that you're gonna learn a lot here, you're getting involved in community policing. You know, get to know your neighbors, you know, walk and talk. If they go on from here, they'll have a good education as a police officer here and stuff. They're right, young and energetic.
We like that. Right.
okay, with that, when I motion.
Yeah.
Hire both officers part-time. And then that's the final.
Yeah, I moved it.
Second.
Actually, I want to add a caveat, pending the outcome of the psychological.
Okay.
Okay.
Contingent on them passing the final and the outcome of the psychological exam. Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Anything else?
Just to, 4th of July is coming up next week. We are short-handed, we're looking, I'm going to ask TJ for some volunteers. I asked the fire police to help us as well. We're going to do the best we can with what we have. Parade is always well attended. Hopefully, it won't be a lot 105 degrees next week. But we look forward to that as well. And in light of recent events, as I told you before, we are taking the security very seriously with the Porchville. Even more so now in light of recent events that occurred in the Middle East involving Iran and the United States, Israel. You know, it's I've already put it out to the listening post and the NICIC unit to make sure that if there's any chatter, if we hear about it, we are taking that. We'll be working with our partners in law enforcement to ensure everybody has a good time, to make sure that the streets of Ellenville are safe for our people that visit our community for the first time. And then we have the fireman's parade, as you're well aware, but I'm going to be meeting with the fire departments next week. You know, the staffing for that, and what they can give us to help out as well. We do have those 3 events coming up, and then in August, about 2 weeks later, right around the corner, we have the Blueberry Festival. And, and then we're gonna be doing, in July, we're gonna be doing some firearms training, which is necessary, so. Doing our firearms and the whole day of training, adding some other things in, de-escalation training as always. There's some renewal for our use of force and defensive tactics as well. So we're looking more so towards the vertical judo, as we call it, for the de-escalation techniques that officers need to be aware of. Last thing I have, if the board would be so kind to authorize the payment for my annual stipend of $3,500, which I get for my work.
Yeah, I know they do it here.
Yep, they did.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That's what
Thanks, Chief. Okay, with that board report, TJ?
Just briefly, there was early voting ended yesterday, but remember there are primaries tomorrow, so please come out and vote for the candidates of your choice, and I wish the candidates the votes that are running. Good luck, and that's successful. It has much to offer, and there's much to get involved in, so don't let it discourage you, keep up the good work. Okay.
Nothing at this time, as I said, hopefully we'll be cool during the 4th of July.
Yeah, we don't meet until after the 4th of July, so
Okay.
safe, I hope everybody has a safe 4th of July.
And a cool one, right?
Enjoy the fireworks. Also, primaries are tomorrow for the Democratic Party. So come out to the library here or wherever you vote in November for election day, where you should report. And I wish everybody luck and a happy 4th of July.
Anything else?
To adjourn to executive session, not to reconvene, or are we not executive session?
No, we're going to executive session, not to move.
Move to
We have anything to
adjourn
say?
executive session.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well. I think people need to get out to vote. People need to enjoy themselves. It's summertime in the village. This
And
is
be
where the community comes together. All these events happen because of a lot of volunteer effort. It's just, people should get out, enjoy it, and appreciate the effort that goes into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Contractual?
Yeah, for contractual and legal. Yeah, let's.
This is an AC.
Oh,
It's AC.
This is a.
This is AC light.